Hello again, Internet. Uh, so the other day I made a video on how to make wiring harnesses that sort of basically work. They at least look right and take up the right space. If you don't have the proper plugins, theoretically you can't really do it. Make wiring harnesses, that is, but there's ways around that, and that's what that previous video is about. Today's video is essentially the same thing, but this time I'm going to be making some hoses for coolant. So I have my model basically set up, and I need to get from this fitting through this hole, through this hole, through these holes here, through the center again, out to here, and then connect to this, which I have not decided which way it's going to be pointing yet. Actually, I haven't even made it down, so I'll do that real quick. Just grab it. Alright, so this can still rotate, and that's because I haven't quite decided what angle it needs to be at. I'll decide that while I'm designing the hose. So, first things first, for these, I like to treat these almost like they're electrical connectors. So I have the male, I need the female, and I've already went ahead and created those, so I can just pull them up. So end of hose, this is the 5mm on coolant's nozzle. Let's see, no, I want the 6mm. This will be a 6mm hose on the coolant's nozzle. Okay, and I can just place that. And the way this one is made, which I kind of left a hint for myself, is that this is the side that's towards the body. So just mate that there. And it, of course, went somewhere that I can't see it. No big deal. You can just move that. Oh, I think I got it. I hope so. Either that or I may have lost it again. That happens. And try moving it one more time. Oh, I saw it there. There it is. Alright, so it's close enough that I can just now do a mate. And of course, depending on how you design your hose ends, that'll determine how you do the mates. I designed these to be just coincident with that. Okay. And I'm going to copy that because I want to place it up here as well. Now this one is pretty much set in stone, and obviously these are elastic pipes, but I've already planned out these and they're running right, so I would like to keep this where it is. And lost it again, no big deal. It's got to be somewhere around. Maybe. Maybe I'm dragging the wrong one. Oh, there it is. So go up to there and do coincidence. It's not fully defined because it can rotate, but it's circular, so it doesn't really matter for this step. Okay, so I've got my two ends now. This one, I don't know if it's pointing the right way. Well, I know it's not pointing the right way. And this one is pointing the right way. I'm going to create a new part. And just place it in space. And I'm going to edit it. and I need to do a 3D sketch. And for starters, I just want a line that I can attach tangents to. So I'm going to convert these two, and there we go. And then I'm going to do the same thing through the first hole, essentially. Actually, I should do exactly the same thing through the first hole now that I think of it. So I'll just convert these. And make a line. And I could probably do this with a couple of splines, or a couple of arcs, but right here, a spline will do just fine, I believe. We'll see. Splines are just so much easier that I'm willing to risk it, even if I'm relatively sure it's not going to work. I'm still going to risk it because it's just so much easier. Now here, I'm not sure. The spline might stick out the side of the machine when I make it, but we'll see. Okay, so that looks good to me. And we just continue the path on down. Now I want this to go through the middle one. I have another thing coming down from over here. I maybe should plan better because it needs to go to there, but this will work. So again, just convert these again. And make another line. And then another spline. It's a slightly tighter radius than the others, but it should be okay. It's a pretty flexible hose. Oh, oh, I want that one. And another spline. Alright, so far so good. And then I need that. And I'm going to use this, I think. Actually, I'm not sure those are concentric. I believe they are, but I'm not sure. So I'll use that. And then I could just make another line that is collinear. And the end will be coincident, or on plane. So it gets me the same effect, but I'm a little bit more sure of the results, so worth a couple extra steps. Alright, we'll see if this works and doesn't get in the way of the green one. It's on the tight side, but I think it'll do. Okay. Now this down here is not rigidly defined. So what I can do about that is I can make a line. I'm gonna hide this temporarily. This is at the bottom, I believe. No, it's not. Okay, so I'm gonna exit out of this sketch real quick, exit out of editing the component just because I want to move this to the bottom of my list so that it's easier to find with the two end of hose pieces. And then I'm going to go back to editing that sketch that I was in. So I want to hide this because I want to use this face with the line wherever that line went. There we are. And I'm going to put one end coincident to here just to have it fully defined. I want to show this again. Actually, come to think of it, I don't need that right now. I can come back later. So I'm going to do another coincident here. All right. And I'm going to do a coincident to the end. I know I keep saying coincident for unplane. I kind of think of them as the same, but they're not. And merge those. Okay. So this line is being used as it is for the support of this next line. This line is just for the length. And then I'm going to make these perpendicular, just like these are. But now this one can be, I can drag it around to whatever angle I need it at. So we're kind of tight in here. And I'm thinking it might not even be able to get straight to it. And in a looser space, I'd probably make two arcs and let them drag this to where I want it, but it's so tight and it's going to be a trouble to tighten it if it's past 90 degrees there or past parallel. So I'm just going to make it parallel. All right, and then try a spline one more time. So far I've been getting pretty lucky with splines today, but this is a tighter area, so we'll see. Yeah, I think that'll do. It's on the tighter side, but it's not too bad, I don't think. Okay, so I'm gonna select everything because I've got a lot of construction geometry, so I'm just gonna make everything into construction geometry. And then I'm just going to make everything else, or I'm gonna just select everything that I want to actually keep. And there's a few things I want to keep here. Okay, almost there. All right. So that is the path that I want that hose to follow. And then I need just a profile for it to use on that path. So I'm gonna just use the end of this piece right here. Okay. And select both of those and go to Sweat Boss and just make sure it looks about right. A little worried about there. That's a tight bend. I'm not sure what I can necessarily do about that. I suppose I could kind of arc it down and around, but it's so close. And unfortunately, it's just such a short distance that it has to travel that it's causing that. And even if I arced it down, it would just be a bend that's about the same. But in spite of that, I'm pretty sure that's still going to work, especially since in the actual physical one, it starts bending about right there, so this won't be as extreme. So I'm happy enough with that. Um, I'm going to go ahead and break the external references on what I just made so that I can move other stuff around without it getting angry. So I want the part I just made and the two hose ends, not the fitting. I'm going to make a new assembly out of them. And open it up. And I can just start mating these parts together. All right. I'm going to save this assembly as a part. and this has become my de facto temporary folder, so I just use that. And open the part. I want to combine these three solid bodies. And then I want to save as a step. Actually, I'm happy enough. I would save it as a step to bring it back in as a single import feature, but I'm happy enough with it as it is. What I do need to do is to remove all appearances, and that did not remove all appearances. Let's try again. Actually, I'm going to go back before the combine and remove all appearances. That'll probably work better. Nope. Alright, sometimes that happens, and all the more reasons to do a step. Should have just done that. Okay, so we'll single body. I'm going to save it as a step, the 203 version. The other version will preserve colors. And I open that up. Now I've got my hose, and it's a single body. All the color information is gone. It's just this generic gray, which I can easily remove. And I'll set the material, and I just like to make my coolant hoses blue just to help me see things. Coolant hoses are blue, wiring harnesses are green, threads are red. Kind of try to stick to that. So I'm going to save this as hose 012, I believe. That works. And I can close this and that. And it'll ask me to save, and yeah, sure, why not? I'm just going to delete that anyway. Alright, so this subassembly can be deleted now. And this hose is put in its place. And since I made these off of those faces, I can just use those faces to mate to. Okay, I believe that's fully defined now. And then I can, oh, I need to unhide that fitting again. Alright, so that's still loose, but I can now constrain it to that. Okay, so I've got a new hose made. It's very lightweight because it's just a step import, and it generates really fast. I like to do that. You can keep stuff inside of them, the source and everything that drives them, but it just it takes so much to load them. And when you've got something even as complex as this, which this isn't terribly complex, but even with something like this, it really slows down the software. So there you have it. The hose is made, and yeah, I can pretty much do the same thing for any other hose I might need to make. Um, Again, I like to make ends in advance, so this is just modeled based on this size hose stretched over this size fitting, and it kind of bulges out because the fitting has the barb there. But having ends like that just makes it easier to see. Like looking at it here, I know it'll get through there just fine, but if I had this panel like right up against that, then I'd think twice. Well, also because I need to put some kind of a securing device on there anyway. Alright, so that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed. Okay, quick little addendum. What we made was pretty useful for space claims and things like that, visualization. But it was not ideal as far as for a drawing or for ordering. You couldn't even pull a length of the hose off of it. Couldn't do a like a flat layout design of it. And I want to Well, maybe I want to add that feature, but I'll show you how you can do it if you want to add it anyway. So I'm just going to select all these tangent points or tangent circles all the way on this hose. I'm in a 3D sketch, by the way, and I can convert those. Oh, convert. Okay. So then all the straight sections I can just draw lines in. I don't think that one converted either. So I can draw lines in the straight sections. And since all these curved sections were made with splines, I can just use those as well. I left all the splines default when I was drawing this up, or when I was making this originally, so I can just leave the splines default now as well. And in order to make the splines sit, I need the lines. Go tangent and tangent, and then it drops just where it was before. So it's going to continue going down the hose and making lines and splines until I've got the entire path of the hose. If you're going with the keep everything approach as opposed to the use a step to clear as much out as possible, make it lightweight approach, you should still have the original driving sketch for this also, so you can use that in that case. Or you can alternatively just use that to make a flat layout and then export both the bent and the flat versions as steps. That'll work as well. But either way, however you do it, you will need this sketch to drive it, whatever you source the sketch from. Okay, that did not quite drop right. I'm going to try it the other direction. I go tangent on this end first, it might result differently. There we go. So it does matter what order you do the spline tangencies in sometimes. And we're on our last one. Assuming it's the right way, which it isn't. So I need to start with the bottom. Come on, pick it. There we go. Okay. So we've got a whole long spline laid out, splines and lines laid out there. So I'm just gonna exit that sketch. Actually, I need to make all those circles construction geometry. So I'm just gonna select everything and then actually I do not need this because I'm just gonna reuse that section anyway. So just select every section along the way. Because right now these are all construction, as everything is. But we want to turn them back into regular elements. And for one end, I do need that. Actually, do I? I do not. No. Okay. So undo the for construction thing, and I want to exit this 3D sketch. Now I can pick either end to start from, but I'm just going to start from this end because, well, reasons. So I can do either a 2D or a 3D sketch. If I had a plane convenient, I'd probably do a 2D, but come to think of it, it will be so much easier doing it as a 2D sketch. So I can I can just go ahead and make a plane. It doesn't matter really where the plane is generated from or what angle it's at, because it's just going to be straight. Okay, so I can sketch them there. And then I want to do a line, make it collinear to this. And then I want to make these, oh, correction, I cannot use a 2D sketch. I have to use a 3D. Alright, same deal. I want this to be collinear. But then in the 3D sketch, why is it not? Oh, let's try converting it. And then I can do an equal curve length. Alright, then the next line. Make it equal, and again collinear. And then the next spline, I have to convert this again and make another collinear. It's just a lot of collinears basically, and equal curve lengths. So you've got two in a row here that are relatively close, so I'm just going to do them both at once. Keep forgetting I need to convert those. So yeah, you definitely can't do that in a 2D sketch then, because when you converted those, they'd be just converted from the angle that you're seeing them as opposed to what they actually are. Need to make these collinear. Collinear. And collinear again. And I want this to be equal. Convert this so that I can make those equal. Alright, so that's starting to get stretched out there. I want two more lines. And make those equal. Convert this so I can make that equal. Alright, we're getting closer. Two more. If I drop all these lines, when I first start, it can save some effort, but I have to drag them out so far that it ends up being a lot of scrolling, and it's just not worth it. So if you drop them in too close, they just start bunching up and going on top of each other. Okay, so that's the last one except for the end piece, but that's what we want. We want this line. Okay, now I'm going to hide this. I'm going to hide actually both of these for the moment so that I can make a plane right here. And I want to move copy bodies, but I don't actually want to move them, I just want to copy them. So I'm going to hide the main hose. And then I want to do a split using this plane on this body. Okay. And then I can just delete that. Oh, what did it do? I may have done that wrong. Let me try again. I want to hide the main hose, and then I should be able to do a split just on that. Okay, and I can delete that. There we go. Sorry, I hit my microphone. Alright, so we've got this 3D sketch, and it's a little bit It's got a little bit extra more than we want, but that's fine. Going to go down here and make just a 2D sketch. Select the inner and the outer, convert, done. I want to do an extrude, and I want to go up to vertex, and I do not want to merge the result. So just for a moment, I'm going to hide this hose end. And actually, don't need to do that because I've got a plane right there. That's perfect. I've got plane right here, which is just the end. So I select both of those, hit a plane. I've got a mid plane right in the middle there. And using that, I can use mirror with the bodies. Select that body, and I want to merge solids now. Or it might not let me. There we go. Alright, so now I should be able to combine, and one more combine. Alright, hide my reference stuff. Alright, so I have my main hose, and I have my flat hose. And if I wanted to, I could probably save this out to a step again and import it again and save a little bit of space, but this should be good enough. So now obviously this is a problem because it's two hoses, and even if I hide one, they're going to show up in interference detection. So that's just a minor little thing. I'm going to go over here to configurations, and we're going to copy that. So call the first one as installed, and the second one flat. Alright, so I'm in the as installed one, which means I don't want the flat one. I'm just going to delete that. Go to the flat. Well, now I don't want the as installed one. Okay, do a regen, and we can just go back and forth as much as we like. That way we've got the same part number. We can use the same drawing, just different configurations. All right, and I'll save that. And yep, that's all that's really involved. From there, you can pretty easily make a drawing, or if I want to just, maybe I just want to make one of these myself off of a reel, but I want to know how long I want to cut it before I go and cut it. Well, it needs to be 1521 millimeters. Easy enough. With this hose, it's not so easy to measure that. All right, so I think I got everything this time. Goodbye, Internet.